Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Comic Book Nostalgia. I'm CB Nostalgia and we have a review for episode 17 of Young Justice Phantoms. Well, after we got our 3-episode kickoff of the second half of Young Justice Phantoms, we had to wait a week for a new episode. This past week's episode, Leviathan Dive, closed out the Kaldur Undersea Atlantean arc. The War for the Seas continues this week, and we get a full resolution, a fulfillment of a prophecy, and a new leader in the Undersea Kingdom of Atlantis. So let's take a couple minutes to dive into this week's review and break it all down. Now before we do that though, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and ring the bell for all the updates. Also, the big giveaway. We're going to give away this Oculus Quest 2 at 50,000 subscribers. All you need to do to get in on our giveaway is be a subscriber and leave us a comment. Also, while you're at it, make sure you check out our line of Stay Whelmed merchandise down below. It's a pretty cool way for you and your friends to feel the Aster, crash the mode, and stay whelmed, all while helping support this channel. We also have a line of Restore the Snyderverse and CBN merch, so make sure you check it out. Well, this week's episode of Young Justice, Leviathan Dive, closed out that Atlantean storyline that focused on our favorite Aquaman, Arion. Getting a 3-episode kickoff really let us dive deep into this first story, and it was sort of awkward closing it out already, but I was pretty happy to see the resolution of some of these stories and some new interesting details uncovered. Let's start off by talking a little bit about the adventures of Kaldur, Wynn, Lagoon Boy, and Delphian. Now, as many of you remember, the last we saw them, they were trapped in the undersea, and they've apparently been there several weeks between episodes. As a matter of fact, beards abound for just about everyone who can grow them. Kaldur and his team move deeper into the undersea, finding their way to the old ruins of Atlantis. But to do this, they have to avoid the undersea vents and the actual leviathans that inhabit this undersea scape. Eventually, Kaldur and his team find their way to that exact scene we saw during the collapse of Atlantis and what I believe was actually Arion's skeleton. This is where they uncover the circlet, and this artifact of order will play key in resolving this whole storyline. Now, another big part of this week's episode focused on Ocean Master, which revealed a lot of details on what's going on in that background story and how it ties to the ancient king Arion. We actually get quite the amazing scene between Magan and Ocean Master, and it really is good to see her back in the saddle. Now, once Magan digs in fully, the full plan of Vandal Savage is revealed. Now, first and foremost, this version of Ocean Master is a clone, and that really should come as no surprise to anyone. But then it's revealed that so is Arion. But there's a couple caveats here. Now, apparently, the DNA from Arion's flute was used to recreate him via the cloning process. But Vandal Savage and the Light actually used Ocean Master's consciousness to put into his head. That's right, Arion is Ocean Master. Now, they also enhanced his magical power. As Savage said, he didn't want him dependent on trinkets like the Trident, and this helped explain why his magical power was so much greater than Ocean Master. And they also make it pretty clear, sadly, this version of Ocean Master is a puppet clone and meant to be disposed of. This means allowing him to die or just rot away in an Atlantean prison. Actually, by the end of this arc, you start to feel quite sad for Ocean Master, and Orion actually gives him a new lease on life. So I am curious on where his story is going to take us sometime probably next year. Now, all the events eventually lead us to a new council meeting in Zebel. All of Atlantis is near rebellion due to the return of what many believe to be the one true king, and they are demanding that Arion be crowned. This leads to another council vote on whether Arion should be that king, and minus Orin and Mara's father, the rest of the council accepts him as the new king. Now, this leads to what appears to be much celebration, although clearly Aquaman is skeptical. Now, around this time, Kaldur and his team return, and they have the ancient crown of Atlantis. At this point, the fake Arion, Ocean Master, immediately claims and dons the headpiece. This was a huge mistake. The Lords of Order are not having Ocean Master as the welder of their power, and they immediately destroy his new body in a pretty graphic way. Then the power of the item itself is returned to the Order side of the scales, meaning it is no longer that artifact on Earth. This leads to an interesting conclusion to the story and the prophecy. Orin is offered the crown by Mara, but he declines. And there's a good reason. He actually sees his true king, and that would be Mara. All of Mara's actions fulfilled the prophecy, and she has crowned Atlantis to the full and unanimous support of the Council. Just like the prophecy read, she was one of the three that faced the Red Death, and it read, when the best of us gain Arion's crown, our one true king revives renown, leaving Mara the uniting king of Atlantis on Earth 16. Not something that I was expecting. Now, as the story closes out, we do find out a couple of cool details. Orion himself will return to the Justice League as Aquaman, with Kaldur offering to step down from the role. But then he has something interesting to say. He points out that there are 4 Green Lanterns and 2 Flashes in the League, so why can't there be 2 or even 3 Aquamen? At this point, Lagoon Boy is actually promoted and receives it with some actual humility. The guy I found so annoying in Season 2 has clearly grown up. Now, Kaldur appears to be finally taking his rest and informs Orion he is taking a leave of absence and finally getting the break he needs. We do get a rather short scene in the end credits where he's talking to Black Canary at the Watchtower's Memorial Garden. Kyrie Payton really delivers some emotion in his voice acting here, and the pain really feels genuine. That's probably the call-out performance of the whole episode. Now we do get a small Superboy update. Even though the guy is completely beating himself up, the Magic School Bus actually makes a short trip, and we get a little peek at that scene that Zatanna picked up at the end of the magical arc. Where this takes us, I'm not sure, but it could potentially be part of a path out of the zone. We also get a piece of his next vision, which is Lex Luthor. Honestly, that can't be a good thing, and I think it's his psyche attempting to deceive him. Now, like I said, a nice episode and a pretty good conclusion to the Kaldur arc. I'm not sure where they're going next week, we still have no idea, but we do know Rocket and Nightwing are queued up, so it could be either one. I'm going to give this week's episode an 8 out of 10. I enjoyed the closing, I enjoyed some of the creative decisions here, and I do like they told a rather complete story in parallel with everything we had this season. What did you guys think? How did you feel about the closing chapter in the Kaldur arc of Young Justice Phantoms? And were you surprised at who fulfilled the prophecy of the one true king? I have to say, it caught me a little off guard. Tell me what you think in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure you hit like, click subscribe, and if you don't ring that bell, you're not getting any updates. Peace.